With only 3 races remaining in the regular season, the intensity has never been higher. And right on cue, NASMARB is returning to its most difficult track statistically, DDT International. Last time we were here, records were set for the most DNFs in a qualifying session with 10, and for the first time, a driver failed to complete a single heat in qualifying, and it happened not once, but twice. Right on cue, you can see some of the disastrous attempts at qualifying the last time we were here as we welcome you to qualifying for the NASCAR Discord 400 at DDT International Speedway. It was a wild time last time these drivers faced off here, and the qualifying lineup for today will be the inversion of the Waffway 500 results. Last time we raced here, of course, was the reimagined 400, which was a pole-sitting position for Streamer, who will be the second to last car to qualify today after a runner-up finish in our last race. Streamer was first, all the way down to Steve in the 89 machine, and Woodpecker in the 43, who failed to qualify. We'll begin with Electro, and you can see on the right side of your screen both the last time we were here at the DDT International and then also the season statistics. And Electro with a solid run through. I'll look at the time, a 3:99. Begins our qualifying session today for the 93. Electro, as always, for Texas Rollhouse. 12th place in the reimagined 400 qualifying. Here is Neptune, who finished 4th the last time that we were here in the number 11. Like a solid run, slowing down at the end, and it gets very slow at the end of this. A 4.60 for Neptune. As we'll watch it through the first couple turns, it looked okay, but when you get toward the bottom of the course here, the speed just completely goes out of the machine right there. A hard turn into the wall to the left by the 11, and a slow time there, over 0.6 slower. That brings up Confetti. Driving for the Alabama Crimson Tide. And a solid run there. Waiting for the time, it's a 4.13. Second out of 3 now is Confetti in the 17. For, as we said, the Crimson Tide on the hood of that car. 4.3 looks like probably a pretty solid time. That'll bring up Nugget, who qualified 8th but only finished 15th the last time we raced here. Driving the 16th for Nuggets Diner. And this is going to be a slow time as well, it looks like. Just didn't really have a whole lot of speed, and it is the slowest time so far of the first 4 to qualify. A 4.66 for Nugget. Just didn't have the speed. Not necessarily a bad run in terms of a mistake made like you saw with Neptune, who went completely into the wall toward the end, but instead just no speed in the car. As Jeff Marbin will stand in. Jeff's had a really tough season, and that looks like it's going to continue here. Another slow time, a 4.74 for the 24. One of the more classic paint schemes out of any of the drivers in this field. The DuMarb Rainbow Machine. But certainly not a lot of speed for Jeff Marbin here this season, but a disappointing run for him as he's slowest so far. That'll bring up Murakami in the 4. Murakami was 17th in qualifying. So the second slowest to make the field the last time we raced here at DDT International. Not as bad here, a 4.54. The first couple times Electro ran a really nice 3.99. Fast so far compared to everybody else. Murakami settles into 3rd out of 6, which means for sure in the field. That'll bring up Prime. Prime has really struggled after a win to start the season and back-to-back second-place qualifyings to start the year. It has been downhill since then. And Prime spins, gets back, and is going to finish the race across the lap, a time of 5.36. So certainly not a good time, as you can see there, in between turns 1 and 2. I didn't think he was going to get out of turn 2 and be able to finish off the lap. That is the case, though, but significantly slower and over a second, almost a second and a half slower than the leader right now, which is the 93 of Electra, the first car to go. That'll bring up Lemon Drizel. Drizel Qualified second when we were here the first time. And that looked like a good time. It will be a 4:14, third fastest for Biedrzycki. And so Drizel setting up in a good spot. And now Steve in the 89. This is the pink Maubau machine. So a new look on that car. Got the blue bottoms of the design there, but mostly pink and white for this machine here for Steve today. Steve did not qualify last time we were here. And a good start. A 4:46 will be fourth fastest for Steve. For Maubau Racing. And a chance to certainly improve upon what was a very disappointing run last time. Here's the 48 of Oak. ML Facts and Marbles for Autism. Sponsoring this car as always. It's really been a turnaround season for Oak, and that looked like a good run. It is. It's the fastest time, actually. It'll skyrocket Oak to the top of the leaderboard. A 3:88. Will give Oak the fastest time for the moment. And did it by a little over a tenth of a second. Here is Earl in the 33. Red Pandas Racing, we've talked about extensively their attempts to get all their cars in the playoffs. And Earl's going to run the third fastest time so far, a 4:10. It'll beat out Biedrzycki, who's the other teammate to go so far. We'll still get to see Woodpecker, who will be the last to qualify. Here's the 25 of Spitzer. Spitzer qualified fourth, finished third in the reimagined 400. Here's the Wasp Bowling Alley. And this time, probably going to be in the middle, and it will. 4:27 for Spitzer, 6 out of 12. So exactly in the middle so far. Solid time, but nothing spectacular. Certainly something that will have to be worked on if the 25 wants to compete for one of those top wins or top finishing positions like they had the first time we raced here. Murakami, or excuse me, this is actually the 66 of Mozilla. And a turn at the end of that lap there to the right may have cost just a little bit of time. Ninth fastest to 4:55, and it actually may have cost a spot to Murakami, who finished at a 4:54 right there. May have caused an issue with the 66. Hopefully that's not something that's going to continue into the next qualifying lap and then into the tournament. Hopefully that was just a one-time issue, as the 86 of Bloodstorm stands in now, releases, and comes across with a solid time. Pretty good time, in fact. A 4:10 will tie with Earl for the third fastest on this initial run of qualifying times. So far, a pretty good job. 14 are through. All of them have qualified. As we mentioned, 10 cars failed to qualify at least once, including 2 that didn't qualify on either of their laps the last time we were here. So far, 14 for 14. Here's Sal, and looks like a good time, and it is a very fast time for Sal. The 2 goes to the top. A 3:67 by over 0.2 of a second. Sal with a very fast time. Moves to the top, and that'll bring up Winks. With 4 more still to qualify after this. Winks, another member of the Flair team. And that time is going to be a 4:11, so 6th fastest. Just slower than teammate Bloodstorm. Beating out Murakami as well, the other teammate there. And here's Jack Tato. Jack Tato qualified in 10th, but finished 17th. Had a disappointing time last time. And this is not going to be a good run by any stretch. That time will be the second slowest. Let's have another look at it. See where it went wrong. Right there. Out of the exit of turn 1 along that first small straightaway. And then couldn't really regain the speed. It'll be the second slowest time. Jack Tato with a 5:22. That'll bring up Quillo. Quillo, who won a couple heats, 18 heat wins so far for Quillo. No wins, though, overall for the tournament. For the group at MSWP. And that time will be a solid 4:03, run fourth fastest. That leaves just Streamer, who was the pole sitter the last time we were at DDT International, and then Woodpecker, who actually didn't qualify the last time we were here. Streamer with the Carl Racing Company car. 2 wins on the season. Won it the last time we were at this course. Let's see what they can do. The teammate, Electro, ran a fast time. This is not a good time, though. And the time ultimately is just a 4:35, 11th for Streamer, who gets outperformed clearly by Electro and the OB Racing team. And so it'll leave us to Woodpecker, who did not qualify. Same can be said for Steve. Steve ran a pretty solid time. He's 12th right now. Let's see what happens with Woodpecker. It's the second fastest time, and the second half season comeback of the 43 team continues. A 3:83 moves them into second through the first half of qualifying. Unbelievable the job they've been able to do. There it is from top to bottom right now. Prime and Jack Tato are in 20th and 19th respectively and in some trouble. Jeff Marbin, the last car right now in the field, but of course they still have one more lap to go each. And so we'll start back with Electro again. 3:99 on the first lap. This looks like another good lap. Looks like it might be a faster lap for Electro. It is. It's a 3:81 for an average time of 3:90. And Electro starts out strong. Had a very good run the first time. Ended up running the, what was that, 4th fastest time. Overall, they move obviously to the top of the board right now. Here's the 11 of Neptune, a 4:60 time. This one is going to be slow as well. This one might be slower. It is a 5:02. It's an average time of 4:81, and this will be a bottom tier qualifying by the 11 of Neptune here. Certainly not what they were looking for. Disappointing run there. 17 goes again. Looks like it was a little wild coming into turn 1. Tries to recover out of turn 2 and across the line. This is a 4:25 for an average time of 4:19. And by the way, we just broke the record for the most consecutive qualifying heats without a DNF. 13. That is confetti there. Pretty impressive job. And across the line, I believe that came forward for Nugget. That time is a 4:66, which is the exact same time that they ran on the first lap. Let's see. Spun, I think, came out of focus for a little bit. And yeah, came across the line forward, but I think did a full 360 spin. 4:66, not enough time to be locked in, so that'll lock in confetti. Here's Jeff Marbin. This is a better time than the first lap. The first lap was a 4:74. That's a 4:13, second fastest of this second qualifying lap. It'll lock Jeff Marbin into the field with an average time of 4:44. A great job by Jeff Marbin to have a little more success on that lap after a disappointing run. Was 18th on the first lap. Here is Murakami in the 4. Didn't look like a great time. That's a 4:44 and an average time of 4:49. So a little bit better from that side. Murakami still in the field. Joining Marbin, Confetti, and Electro. Nugget and Neptune. The 16 and the 11 right now not in. But that Tato and Prime still have to go. And speaking of, here is Prime, and Prime struggling to get across the line. That's a time of 4:71. An average time now of 5:04 will put Prime at the bottom of the board. It'll lock Nugget in. At that time of 4:66, consistent at least for Nugget. And Prime now 7th out of 7 and in some significant trouble, especially if we don't have any DNFs, as this is Lemon Drizel, and Drizel comes across the line. That time is a 3:89 and jumps to an average time of 4:02. That'll be second best out of those to go so far. 3:89 is the second best time we've seen from this outside lane as well. After Electro, Sal had the fastest time from the inside line. Here's Steve in the 89. Failed to qualify last time we were at this track. That won't be the case here, as Steve will average out the time of 4:37, move into 4th place, and lock himself into the show. That will bring up Oak. Oak had a good time of 3:88 from the inside. How about the outside? Looked like a good time. Let's see what it comes across at. It is a 3:67, and Oak takes the lead now for the overall qualifying with an average time of 3:78, 0.12 of a second better than Electro to move into 1st. And now we'll see what Earl can do. Earl struggles through turn 1, gets through turn 2, tries to turn on the speed, comes across the line, and it's a time of 4:57, a great recovery by the 33 as they went sideways into the first turn. That time will average out at a 4:34, and 5th out of 11 to go, and into the field for the NASCAR Discord 400, excuse me. There's the Spitzer machine, number 25. We'll get across the line at a 4:01. And an average time of 4:14. 4th best. And now again we see Mozilla in the 66 for Suchamimas. Slowed down at the end again. That was the same thing we saw in that first qualifying lap. That time will be a 4:6. An average time of 4:58. It's enough to get in, but Mozilla, who has had some success this year, certainly not showing success so far in this qualifying. Going to have to make some adjustments before the tournament begins, as that'll bring up Bloodstorm. Bloodstorm ran a 4:10 on the first lap, and this will be better than that. Actually, it won't be a 4:12. Looked like it was a little faster, not the case. Make that obviously then an average time of 4:11, and still 4th fastest. Good time for Bloodstorm. And let me give a Sal. Sal ran the fastest time, a 3:67. Can they repeat here on the outside line? They spin, they come across the line backward, and it will cost them a chance at a pole. A 4:31 makes the average time a 3:99. And it will put Sal into 3rd place for the moment, but certainly a disappointing second run, eliminating an opportunity for Sal to win a pole. As we'll go back to another flare car. This is Winks in the 13, and Winks with the time of 4:23. An average 4:17. Slides in right in between Spitzer and Confetti. And let's see what Jack Tato can do. Going to need a really fast time. Going to try to make any moves to get into this race. And Jack Tato is going to do it. A time of 3:97 is going to be good enough. And Neptune stays below the cutoff line and is now in some significant trouble. Because you've got some fast cars, you're going to need a DNF in order to get into this race if you're Neptune. Let's see what Quillo can do. Quillo going to come across the line. It will be a completion of a lap, and Quillo will be 5th with an average time of 4:08. This will eliminate Prime. If Prime is not locked, or is if Streamer here is locked in, that will eliminate Prime. Streamer going to come across the line, going to finish this lap. Not a great time for Streamer. This one was pretty good, a 3:91. The average time is just 7th, which is lower than what we've been expecting from this championship contender. A 4:13, the average time. That will eliminate Prime, so Prime will not qualify for this race. And Woodpecker with an opportunity to do something big here. Going to make a little bit of a mistake, come across the line backward, and so they'll slide into 5th place with a 4:06 average time. That eliminates Neptune. And Oak is going to win the pole with a very impressive 3:88 and 3:67 for the 2 qualifying lines. So congratulations to Oak. That is the first ever qualifying session in which we do not have a DNF. The Spiral 360, the first race of the season, was the only other, or was the lowest previously, with 2 previous DNFs. So a new record for that. Prime becomes the first driver to DNQ, or not be able to qualify, after winning a race. So the first winner to not qualify, and wasn't even close. The cutoff time was a 4:66, and Prime, despite finishing both laps, ran an average time of 5:04. And for the second time ever, somebody's going to miss 2 consecutive races. That's Neptune. Oak, who's on the pole today, or will be on the pole for the race, was the other driver. Missed the first 2 races of the year. Now sitting on the pole and in a spot where Oak could very well make a playoff push. So congratulations to Oak. Better luck next time for Neptune and Prime and everybody else going to try to get closer to the speed, over a 1/10 of a second faster for Oak. So there you see, failing to qualify, Neptune a 460 from the inside, a 502 from the outside. Prime was never close. Ran a 536 from the inside and a 471 from the outside. Fastest laps. The pole position, you can add 3 championship points to Oak. The fastest inside lap was Woodpecker. Fastest outside lap was Oak as well. Excuse me, that was Sal, actually, with the fastest inside lap. There's a look at the groups. Group 1 will be Oak, Spitzer, and Nugget. Group 2 is Electro, Winx, and Jack Tato. Group 3, Sal, Streamer, and Mozilla. What a group that'll be, as Sal's going to have to go up against the heavyweight, and Mozilla, no slouch in their own right. Lemon Drizel takes on Confetti and Murakami in Group 4. Group 5 is Woodpecker, Earl, and Jeff Marbin. So we'll see a couple of the Red Pandas Racing teammates there. And then Group 6 is Quillo, Bloodstorm, and Steve. Set up to be, yet again, another fascinating race. We've got just 3 races left in the regular season before we hit the NASMARB playoffs. So until next time, I'm Ricochet, and you've been watching MSPN's coverage of NASMARB.